part here on this. Cleaning up the seams and do a little preliminary sanding on the front and the back panels and collect the dust. There's a bit of a gap here between the upper and lower sections here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, now that it's got a little sanding dust in it, I'm going to push that sanding dust in farther. There we go. I'm going to take the sanding dust that I've been collecting here, brush it up onto this, fill in the hole here. There's one last item here before I take off. Here we go. Pickup mounting ring was done by cutting a window in a piece of plywood and then rasping it out to fit, and then cutting the window free from the main body of the plywood. This is a cedar laminate. It came out of a cigar box lining. This will be faceplate and mounting ring. Put my pickup together. So with this, next thing is to take increasingly fine grades of sandpaper, go over the body several times, get a smooth finish, and then we'll start staining it. So that'll be fun. Okay, so we've run up to 320 grit sandpaper, got a reasonably good finish on it, and I am ready to start staining the wood. So lay the pattern out, get a pattern that you like, get it all set up, mask off the extra, and then when you're satisfied, you can start staining different colors. Starting to look like a guitar now. Okay, the stain is on as much as I plan to put it on. There's a trick right now. You could sand this down so that the stain is almost completely gone and then stain it again, and that will give it a very rich, lustrous finish, I hear. I don't know myself, I haven't tried it, and I don't really plan to. Oh. You remember the joint in the neck where I didn't have a piece big enough? Yeah. Looks pretty good. So, and you can barely see that. So I'll need to work on a catch for that. But in the meantime, got my 320 grit paper. I'll do a finish sanding here around the edges. I'm going to blend this in a little. Feather the edges of the tip. And then I let it dry overnight, and tomorrow I can come back and I can put the first layer of varnish on it. So I gave it a coat of varnish, and then according to the instructions I let it sit for 3 or 4 hours to cure, and then go back over it with fine sandpaper. Now we'll get another low coat of varnish and let it cure overnight. And we're pretty close to getting ready. Starting to resemble a guitar more and more. Electrical work is fun. So here I've got the extensions on the pickup. I used a bent coat hanger and threaded the wires through the body. And then here is where I do the intelligent thing and mount all the equipment, put all my components in, and then solder it all together. And of course, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do the other job. I'm going to, there we go, bend this here. Yep. I'm going to put everything together outside and then mount it into the guitar. I've already tinned my wire, put a little bit of solder on the back of the pot. I don't know why the ground has to go to the back of the pot, but all the wiring, here, now my wiring instructions. All my wiring diagrams say they do, so they do. There you go. And we'll just put all these things together, tighten this down. There we go. Okay, now the metal strings are vibrating in a magnetic field when you play, and so there's going to be a current induced in the strings. So to keep from getting feedback problems, getting an extra hum where it's not supposed to be, the strings have to be grounded to the rest of the electrical system, usually through the bridge, but I don't have a metal bridge, so I got a cord coming through here, and I've soldered a loop in the wire. I'll just put a screw through there, and I'm going to ground it to the tailpiece. Electrically, that's the same thing, but that's not how it's officially done. But I'm not doing this as it's officially done. I'm doing this as I'm doing it, and I'm betting that it's going to work just fine. Go. That sticks out a little bit. I might go back in later and recess that a little bit so that it's a little more flush, but still has a good electrical connection. And basic guitar. Now I'm going to make a bridge and put some strings on it. Boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so I made a bridge out of oak. I did my first modification here. The volume knob is set back into the face a little farther, so the knob doesn't stand out quite so much. The problem came up. The peg head is not going to be workable. It looks cool, but it's not usable. So I'm going to have to splice an ear onto the outside here and then rotate the line up so that it's a little straighter coming across the nut. Okay, there's the peg head, cut, glued, and sanded. I've got these 4 peg holes plugged off. I'll just stain those to match. They'll still be visible, but not too bad. And then Next I'm going to drill for the peg holes before I do the staining. So this modification is getting its own little bit of progress. We'll be done in no time. And voila! Miracle of miracles. After everything's dry, everything's polished, everything's put together, everything's adjusted within an inch of its life, I have something that vaguely resembles a guitar. Probably have to make a new bridge. I'm not entirely happy with this bridge, but for now, it buzzes. And, as the added miracle, I wasn't entirely expecting this to happen. Power on! It actually works. Crank this around the other way.